Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. If I could all ask you to close your eyes. I'm going to say one word, and I'd just like you to think of what that word means to you and the images that come into your head when I say it. Home. Open your eyes. I'm seeing some smiles around the room, some pensive faces. Home is a buzzword here at New York University, Abu Dhabi. We are incredibly fortunate to be students from all around the world as we come together and share what we have. I've thrown powder, coloured powder, on friends during Holi as we celebrate on the Corniche. I hear a myriad of different languages in the dining hall. And in the future, I have a couch to sleep on just about anywhere in the world. We all have our own definitions of home, each valuable. Today, I'd like to share with you my own definition and hopefully allow you also to find home. Home wasn't complicated before. I had one home, Salisbury, an amazing, amazing home. It's a small suburban city in the central south of England, about an hour and a half west of London, 20 minutes from Stonehenge. It's normally how I have to describe it. It has a cathedral which has a spire 123 meters tall, can be seen for miles around. And I have to admit, my heart settles every time I return from the airport to see the spire in the distance. When I first came to Abu Dhabi, I fervently held on to Salisbury as my only home in the literal sense. I thought home was a matter of time. So I treated Abu Dhabi like a summer camp. It was a new place, new faces, and learning new things. And with that, I lost some of the spark that was here. I separated what I did in Abu Dhabi and what I did in Salisbury. It confused me when my friends said home when they referred to their dorm room. I forgot my books. I have to return home to get them. I had been in Abu Dhabi for a month. I lived in Salisbury for 18 years. Abu Dhabi was not my home. So when I first separated these activities, I cycled at home. It was my freedom. I could go anywhere I liked. Didn't need a lift from my parents. I saw friends in town. We went to cafes and sat on the grass outside the cathedral. However, in Abu Dhabi, I did summer camp activities. We studied a little bit. And at the weekends, we had desert trips, or we had lazy days on the beach. For me, this acted as a defense mechanism to stop me getting homesick. For me, homesickness came when I was reminded of those moments in Salisbury, of the people I had left and now were not with. And it worked as a pretty good defense mechanism. But was I happy? No, not as happy as I could be. I was naive because I wasn't letting myself really experience what I had here. In discussion with my fellow speaker, Jovan, when he went to Slovenia first to study abroad, he focused on academics. He built himself boundaries in order to try and keep safe, but also was not really fully experiencing those people around him and the place where he was. Yet we both came to realize that home is more than a place, both in the literal sense of a single place maybe, but also of a place. And it's great that we did. Abu Dhabi is no longer a place that I think of temporary. It's a brief 4 years of study. I had really worried that it would dilute my other homes if I was to accept a new place or a new aspect to become home. However, in contrast, I now appreciate what I have in Salisbury and what I have in the UK and my family and my friends so much more now. And what I have here of friends, arguably another family. It changed in my second year. When I returned, I had familiarity with the place. I started really to appreciate the people and the faces that I saw again. The places that I went, and that butter chicken that I had craved. And more than that, with the people I was with, they had become home for me. Not just Abu Dhabi, but the moments, those experiences, those memories that you share. So this is my second point. The friendships, experiences, and memories build the foundations of home. This first really hit me last year when I was on a date. It was nighttime. The only lights were some from the street lamps that lined the cycle path along the Corniche. Up ahead of me, I could see Julie standing up on the pedals, coasting along, under an archway of trees with their branches elegantly overhead. We got to the end of the path, to the traffic lights. I paused for a moment, turned our bikes around and did the whole experience again, under the archway of trees. And just to repeat those moments of safety, of love, of vulnerability, those moments that really build your foundation of home. It helped that I was in a relationship. It helped that I had friends who pushed me to take these opportunities. And I encourage you as friends and people in relationships that you also do that for those around you. Now, I know home is different for us all. It's not necessarily family. It's not necessarily a single place where we grew up. It is dynamic in time and form. For example, I talked to my friend, and they said for them, home was their lobby of their apartment building, where they could talk to their doorman before going up to their apartment and having to deal with the stresses of a phone call from their parents, the academic work that sat on their desk. In those moments of safety where you can really open up and be vulnerable, those are moments where we find some of the essence, at least, of home. Another friend I asked said how they felt home was lost and gained. She felt she had lost many homes. But I would argue that if we think of homes as those moments we share with people that really create the building block of something much bigger, a shelter that we have, then we can carry home wherever it may be, whoever it may be, whatever it may be. And lastly, when we moved to Saadiyat, it's a big change, new campus. And I asked my friend why for her, Saadiyat wasn't home yet. And she said, because I can't get lost here. And I love that sentiment. That home is a place where you can feel lost. You're vulnerable, but you are safe. You possibly are alone, but you know you're loved. So I'd like to share with you my greatest feeling of home in Abu Dhabi. It's a mosque, or more correctly, it's the garden of a mosque, near where our old campus was. It was the closest green space. And you walk along the street for a disconcerting length of time as the street lamps go on, until you find a gate and it opens up to this wonderland. And I like to take off my shoes as I walk in and feel the grass beneath my feet. I normally take a seat, spend a few hours maybe. And I look up and see the green light of the minarets against the dark blue of the midnight sky. And there's just this ultimate feeling of calm, rare nowadays, as is the feeling of grass beneath your feet in Abu Dhabi. And there I've taken many friends, and we've shared stresses of life, silences, and smoothies. And each time I go there with my friends, I always get that same feeling of calm. But each time is different. Each time is a new moment and a new memory. I went there again in spring break last year with my parents when they visited. It felt really bizarre to share something of a new home as they visited. You can't really call it a family holiday when you live in the place and study there. But yeah, we went again to the mosque and we shared those smoothies and we shared those silences and those stresses of life. And rather than worlds colliding, it was worlds being shared. And I should share that home with them, that aspect of myself, sharing it with people I care about. So here's one of the most important things I want to leave you with, or that I want you to take away, is the beauty of home is that it should be shared. It is the universal question. I could ask you all now where home is, and hopefully you can tell me maybe later. And each of you has an intimate and an individual answer. Sometimes we take these answers and we use them as barriers, as boundaries between ourselves. However, I encourage you to share more of your home, because with that sharing becomes an awareness, an appreciation of what each of us have, unique to us, our story as we've heard throughout today, those stories with us. And we should share home in all the different forms that we have. Cool. And it helps to define us, this home that I'm describing. We define it, and in turn it defines us. I will always be adamant that the fish and chips back home will always beat those in the cafeteria here. And now I'll put Arabic phrases in my speech. Inshallah, I hope you enjoyed this talk. So with this, I want you to all know that your home is valuable, that it is an idea worth sharing. That we should not take home for granted, and we should just not think of it as one place, but appreciate those moments and those building blocks that we can take wherever we are, whoever we're with, or whatever we're doing. So if I could all ask you to close your eyes once more. Everyone close your eyes. I'm going to say the word again, and then I'm going to say a few things just to try and get you to think about something. Home. Where was the first place you called home? With whom do you feel at home? Can you smell your parents cooking? How are you defining home? Open your eyes. I have one last thing to ask, a small favor, if you will. Do you share those images that you've had in your head, those feelings, those emotions, that smell of your parents cooking, with those around you? Whether it be you ask a colleague at work, where's home? Or you go and call a loved one who is away from home. Or you say thank you to a friend who has really made you feel safe despite your vulnerabilities. Because home is important to all of us. And it's exciting and should be celebrated. So please, I hope with me sharing my home with you, I've made you feel at home. Thank you.